Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and oh, man, such a great show. You're going to love this. I'm telling you, so good. The book's entitled Spiritual Intelligent Leadership, How to Inspire by Being Inspired. Who of us out there do not want to be more inspirational? And I know that some of you out there go, whoa, Jay. By the way, it's by Dr. Yosi Amram. I know you're going out there and you're saying to yourselves, whoa, Jay, spiritual leadership? Come on, man. Come on. What do you mean spiritual leadership? Folks, I have said this at the in the 7-8 years I've done this show. I've said the same thing to you every week for years. I don't do it as much anymore. We're 4-part people. We're physical, mental, emotional, spiritual people. Okay? And every one of those aspects of who we are equally important. I've told you they're like the air in the tires of your car. If one area is low, it's hard to steer the car. If all 4 tires are low, you're going to ruin the car over time, all right? So this is one of the areas that you've got to keep the air in the tire full at the right level. That's the spiritual part of what we do. We all go, oh, take care of your body. That's intelligent leadership, to take care of our body physically. Agreed. I got to be mentally in tune with myself, and I got to be aligned mentally. And that's what was required for leadership. Agreed. You know, I need to be emotionally in control, and I can't let my emotions get the best of me. And I've got to not only be able to control my emotions, but I've got to be able to understand the emotions of others if I want to be a great leader. Absolutely correct. But what about the spiritual area? Oh, I hear the crickets. That's why we're talking to Dr. Yosi Amram today, and on spiritual intelligent leadership, because it is that important. Let me introduce you to Dr. Amram. Yosi Amram began his leadership journey in the Israeli military, where he received numerous awards and garnered the fastest promotion record in his regiment's history. Despite these accomplishments, the military chafed at his soul, in eventually inspiring his lifelong quest for more humane approaches to leadership. After leaving the military, Yosi studied engineering at MIT and earned an MBA from Harvard. He took the leap into leadership experience of his own, and as the founder and CEO of 2 tech startups, both which he led through successful IPOs. And then one day, as CEO of a public company with rising stock prices, he experienced a psycho-spiritual breakdown, what he titles a dark night of the soul, which capitulated him into a spiritual awakening. The epiphany and the manic episode that went with it were both excruciating and exulting, enabling him to see through the illusion of separation to the truth of our interconnectedness. This put his life and value system on a fresh trajectory. He went back to school, got his PhD in clinical psychology, ultimately developing the first research-grounded theory and validated measure of spiritual intelligence. With an associated model, he created the name Spiritual Intelligent Leadership, or SI Leadership. This research has received over 1,000 citations a day, and he joins us today with his brand new book called Spiritual Intelligent Leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, and welcome to A New Direction for the first time, and I don't think the last time, Dr. Yosi Amram. Yosi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Coach Jay. I'm honored by this introduction. Is that really me? No,
that is really you, brother. That's really you.
I might get impressed with myself. It might go to my head, and my spiritual intelligence will get blown out. I'll get a big ego.
No, wait. Hold on here. I know the 7 dimensions of spiritual intelligent leadership, and I know as part of those dimensions, there's other little pieces of that, and one of them is egolessness, and I know you're part of egolessness. So I'm not going to buy into that at all. I want to start with something here because I think it's a question on listeners and viewers' minds. And by the way, thank you everybody joining us live. And for those of you listening, thank you too as well by podcast and also radio across the country. So I want you to help us understand how or why or both that the spiritual aspect of leadership really interacts into us being a full leader. How do we make that connection? Because I think there's a disconnection we get the physical, we get the mental, we get the emotional. How do we make this connection for people, the spiritual part of leadership and its importance?
Great. Well, that gets to the heart of the matter. So I'll go back to one of my first Harvard Business School cases, and it was a case called Managers or Leaders. Are they the same or different? So what are managers? Managers, important function. We manage resources, we make decisions, allocate scarce resources. What are leaders? Well, people say, well, leaders inspire. Okay, inspire, that's the difference between manager and leader. What is the root word of inspire? Is spirit. What is spirit? The animating breath of life. So what leaders do is fundamentally inspire their teams and enliven their organization by setting a vision, a calling, a purpose, and getting people that are aligned behind that and forming a community around that. So the leader is basically enlivening the organization, creating a cohesive team, a cohesive group of people, and that essentially is the life force of the organization. So, spirit is the life force that pulsates through us as human beings. And it's the spirit of the organization. We say to people colloquially, oh, my spirits are high today. My spirits are low today. Is it a spirited place? We even drink alcohol and we call it spirits because we don't have the real spirit. So we have to ingest it through substances. But I can talk on and on about it. But I do want to also highlight a couple of distinctions. One is between spiritual intelligence and spirituality. So spirituality, you can have a spiritual belief. You can believe in God. You can believe in reincarnation of the soul. You can believe in your Buddha nature, etc. That's a belief, and that's fine. It's nice, and it can be helpful. And then you have spiritual experiences. I could be meditating. I could be praying. I could be walking in the forest, and all of a sudden I feel one with nature, and my ego dissolves, and so on. And I had one of those awakening experiences, which blew the circuits of my mind. But I didn't have spiritual intelligence when that first happened to me, because spiritual intelligence is about embodying the spiritual resources and qualities that all the traditions throughout the ages have spoken about as being our virtues. And these are purpose and service and gratitude and trust and humility and integrity and presence. So spiritual intelligence is not about a belief. It's not about a momentary experience. It's about the embodiment and the ability to draw on these resources in our daily life, in our team meetings, when we have a disagreement, in our family with our spouse, when I'm driving on the freeway and I'm boxed in this metal thing we call a car, and we're all trying to get on and off the freeway. And how am I feeling like a separate thing and we're in a dog-eat-dog world? When I'm in the supermarket standing in line and someone in front of me is really slow, how do I relate to them? So it's not about my belief, and it's not about a momentary experience. Now, this all may sound great, and I'll pause here, but I want to say that this pays for the bottom line. This is aligned with science and logic. This is not some woo-woo that I'm talking about. But let me just pause here, and then I'll build the case about why this is important and supported by modern science.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I was about just to go there, that the question I was going to just throw at you was, it's not just about, okay, you used the word, I'm going to use it with you too, woo-woo, because you studied 42 CEOs and 210 of their staff as part of your research. And so there is a scientific basis to that. And I think it may be important here for you to discuss that this is science. This is not just some opinion. This isn't theology. There is science attached to it. Explain it.
Okay, great. So this was the first piece of research I did, is to develop a measure and then study 42 CEOs, 210 members of the staff, and control for emotional intelligence. So when you're studying something, a new concept, a new construct, you want to know that it's adding something above and beyond what we already know. And, 40 years ago, whenever the concept of emotional intelligence came in the which was 1990, two academicians, Salovey and Meyer, they defined this thing called emotional intelligence, and got popularized by Daniel Goleman in his book, Emotional Intelligence. Up until then, we thought that there was a dichotomy between emotion and reason. And if I asked you, oh, do you know some emotional people in your life? You'll think, oh, I'm not sure that's a very positive characteristic of someone, that they're emotional. It could be overly dramatic, they're intense, etc. They're out of control. But when we say emotionally intelligent, that's a very different thing. We're bringing reason and emotion together, and that supports our functioning. So spiritual intelligence, what I was trying to say is I was trying to control for emotional intelligence. So I was having these leaders measure both their emotional intelligence as well as their personality, because we know that people that are extroverted and are conscientious are more effective leaders. So I had to control for all of those things to show that spiritual intelligence adds something above and beyond that. So if I'm going to get a little nerdy here and talk with you, talk dirty, emotional intelligence explained 41% of the variance in the leadership effectiveness outcome in terms of team commitment, morale, turnover, and so on. Spiritual intelligence on its own explained 46% of the variance, which means it had a bigger effect on its own. And combined, they explained 67%. So they had a multiplicative synergistic effect, which says that they are complementary things. Now, since then, there's been a ton of research by others who've taken my instrument and measure of spiritual intelligence and applied it across other domains. And there's been studies that show that leaders with higher spiritual intelligence produce better financial results for their business units. So, this pays into the bottom line. There's been studies that show that banks, where the average employee level of spiritual intelligence is higher, they produce better ROI, better return on their assets. This is besides all the mental health benefits of greater satisfaction with life, better quality of life, better resilience, better mental health, and so on. So, there's now been tons of research by many researchers in different languages across different cultures and parts of the world and different traditions that shows this has many benefits. This isn't just woo-woo. So anyway, I hope I'm answering your question.
Right. You are, and it leads me to another question, because this old behaviorist, right, who studied under some great behavioral psychologist while in grad school, always comes back to, well, how do we operationally define this in such a way that we can measure it? And it's a question I think that people want to know too, is, okay, how do we take something like spiritual intelligence and operationalize that in a way I would like, of course I'm going to do it from the behavioral standpoint, in behaviors. And I know you talk about that. So how do we do that? How do we operationalize this? So I go, well, how do I know it if I see it?
Great. No, that's great. So that is the question I was asking, because the term spiritual intelligence is not something I coined. It was a term I heard of from a book by a woman called Dana Zohar, and she mentioned it, but there was no operational definition. There was no measure. If you're going to study something scientifically, you have to know how to measure it so you could look at how it correlates and associated with other things. If you don't have measures, then it's all just subjective experience. And you say, well, this guy is spiritually intelligent, this guy emotionally intelligent or not, and you don't know. So what is spiritual intelligence? How do I define it? It's the ability to embody universal qualities that have been hailed by all the spiritual traditions for thousands of years. So the first part of my research is I interviewed 71 teachers across all the world's traditions: Buddhism, Hinduism, shamanism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and so on. And what was delightful was that regardless of their theology and cosmology, whether they believed that Moses went to the mountain and got the Torah, or they believed Jesus was the Messiah and the Son of God, or Muhammad was the final prophet, or they believe in Shiva Shakti in the Hindu tradition, regardless of their theology, cosmology, they talk about purpose and service and gratitude and trust and humility and joy and integrity and intuition and so on. So it's the ability to embody these qualities in daily life. Again, it's not a belief, it's not a momentary experience, it's the embodiment, the ability to draw on these resources in daily life. Now, what's exciting is that in the field of psychology, modern science, there is a thing called positive psychology, started by Marty Seligman. And he developed a character strengths inventory and values in action. So he has 24 qualities in his research that he identified. Over half the qualities of spiritual intelligence in my research, 22 qualities map directly into positive psychology qualities. So the same things of gratitude and joy and transcendence and so on, inner directedness, are in positive psychology. They have been in the traditions for thousands of years in these spiritual traditions. I'll throw in one more thing and then I'll pause. And that is a study in leadership development. So Bain and Company, one of the top management consulting companies in the world, studied like 2,000 organizations and looked at the difference between employees that were inspired, back to the same root, spirit, and employees that are just going about doing their job to earn their paycheck. They found that employees that are inspired were twice as productive as people that are just going about doing their jobs. And then they looked at what were the qualities of leadership that got people to feel inspired. And those were servanthood, like service, purpose, centeredness, inner directedness, compassion, listening ability, presence. Again, they have 33 qualities in my model of spiritually intelligent leadership and spiritual intelligence. Over half map directly one-to-one. So what I'm trying to say is there's a convergence between the wisdom traditions, the spiritual traditions that have been around for thousands of years that are talking about these virtues that lead to better quality life, more meaningful life, more satisfaction, etc. And then you have positive psychology, which is only, several decades. And then you have leadership development theory that, people have been studying what makes a good leader. And I'm saying all these things are saying that these qualities of integrity, gratitude, purpose, lead you to better outcome individually and organizationally, collectively. So that's, it's like when you're doing science, one is you want replication, you want converging evidence across multiple ways of coming at it. If I had a theory and I had my claim for my science, you'd say, okay, well, that sounds nice, but I have all this evidence from all these other fields that are pointing in different directions. They'd scratch your head and say, something here doesn't smell good. But I'm saying, no. We have replicated studies by many researchers across different languages and cultures, and you have convergence with other fields of research of positive psychology and leadership development. And all of that comes together.
His name is Yosi Amram, Dr. Yosi Amram, book entitled Spiritual Intelligent Leadership, How to Inspire by Being Inspired. We're just getting started here. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, I got to do a little sponsor shout out here. Zoundy. Let me tell you about Zoundy. I love them. It's the ultimate game changer for authors, publishers, anybody who wants to do an audiobook. Listen, there's a lot of audiobook spaces out there. Zoundy is different. Here's the thing about Zoundy. I can get my books, which are on audiobook, and I can actually give free copies to people, right? They set up a link for me. I give out free copies before I go speak anywhere. People can have the book for free, but here's the best part. You ready? Get this. Because they download the book, I now have their email address that I can interact with the reader. How cool is that? And I love the ability to interact what they liked about the book, what they didn't like about the book, how I can improve the book, ideas for a next book, things that they'd like to see. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. So here's what you need to do. You just need to go to zoundy.com/J. That's Zoundy, ZOUNDY.com/J. Use my special code J25. That's JAY25. And you'll unlock all sorts of special savings. But I'm telling you, Zoundy, if you're an author, if you're a publisher, I'm telling you, Zoundy is where you want to go. It's fantastic. I love it, and I think you will too. And then also Linda Craft Team Realtors. I want to tell you something, 40 years, top of the game when it comes to real estate. And you know what? They are the leaders in life transition. And you go, well, what, they do real estate. What do you mean life transition? Well, think about it. Every place you've ever lived has been a life transition, right? So here's what they've done for 40 years. They know how to take the stress out of that part of your life transition, buying or selling your home. So listen, they've been successfully doing it for thousands of people. They can help you. You want to start your journey on your next life transition, start with Linda Craft Team Realtors. It's lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Yosi Amram. The book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership, How to Inspire by Being Inspired. Absolutely fantastic. Available everywhere books are sold. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. It's really good. But I'm also going to tell you this. I'm going to forewarn you right now. It's going to change the way you fundamentally think about spiritual leadership. I'm just telling you it will. It's changed me. I think about things in a very different way as I coach my clients looking at their spiritual intelligent leadership. It's been incredibly influential for me, and I'm very grateful for this work, and I think you will too. Yosi, chapter 1 is entitled Igniting Your Spark, Fanning Your Flame, Mapping Your Journey. But there's a piece in here that I want you to address. And you say it twice, actually, in this chapter. And you say every leader has a unique set of talents and gifts. Why is that so important as we start our discovery of spiritual intelligent leadership?
Well, life, first of all, life is a gift that we got, each of us. We have this gift of life. But in addition to that, we have gifts of our unique talents and superpowers, and we're each unique. In the whole history of the cosmos, the 14 billion years, there's never been another Jay, there's never been another Yosi, there's never been another Mary, and so on, with those qualities. And so if I gave you a birthday gift and you never open it, you leave it in your closet, and I come to your home and hey Jay, what did you do with the gift I gave you last year or last month? You say, oh, I'm sorry, it's still in my closet. It's not going to feel so good for you. It's not going to feel so good to me. So when we give someone a gift, we want them to unpack it and use it. Life has given us a gift of life and the talents that we have. Some people are born with the talents of being great programmers and mathematicians, and somebody else is born with the talent of having a great sense of humor, and then maybe their destiny is to be a comedian and add value that way. Someone else is really great graphic designer and artist, and that's their path. But we each have our gift, and some of us know how to ask good questions and listen well and interview people. And so maybe we become therapists, maybe we become podcast hosts, maybe we become coaches, right? So we want to unpack our gift and we want to use it. But when we do that, we're actualizing our potential. We're actualizing that, seed of life and we're shining light and water and letting it grow and become a great tree that bear great fruit. That is our destiny. So that brings our fulfillment both in actualizing our potential, and it brings our fulfillment because we can then use it to help other. And that's the greatest fulfillment, when we serve the web of life we're a part of. And that's why life gave us those gifts, so we can contribute. And then we play our instrument in harmony with the greater symphony of life. And then we feel a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, a sense of mission. We're empowered, we're actualized, we're connected.
Beautiful. All right, so let's start digging into this. There are 7 dimensions and 25 competencies when it comes to spiritual intelligent leadership. And so I want to dig right into these, if you don't mind, and
Please.
Just start with chapter 2, which is first dimension, called mobilizing meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we say meaning, what is that dimension? What are we referring to here?
Well, we're leading an organization, a group of people, whether we have a formal authority position or it's an informal role of leadership. But basically, human beings are meaning-making, creatures, and we want to know, if we're engaged in something, we want to know why we're doing it. What's the purpose behind it? Why it's important? Why should I do it? So the meaning thing is like, why are we here? What's our purpose? What's our vision? Who are we trying to serve? And so that's the basic part of leadership, to give people that sense of purpose, answer who we're serving, what's the vision of the world we have, and how do we make meaning from all the difficulties that life throws at us. There's always setbacks, in the journey of building a business, an organization, a company, whatever it might be, a nonprofit, a government agency. There's always a lot going on. So we don't want to be discouraged. So we have to find the hidden blessings also, and see that the challenges are part of what makes us stronger, what develops us, etc. So all of that is about making sense of our life, giving us a sense of purpose and significance. We want our life to have some significance. We're not just here, spark of dust in a universe that is, trillions of light years and billions of light years, and it's all just random fluctuations in the quantum field or genetic mutations, and I'm just thing. So just eat and enjoy as much as you can, because you might die tomorrow, which leads us to a dog-eat-dog world mindset, and as opposed to something that's more deeply fulfilling to our hearts and our minds and our souls.
So there are 4 essential competencies to mobilizing meaning. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I want to let everybody know what they are. 1 is awakening purpose, inspiring service, articulating vision, and reframing difficulties. I am huge researcher on purpose. I the psychological definition of purpose is, to do something meaningful that positively impacts the world. That's the basic definition of it. And a lot of people have different opinions on purpose and what that means, and how we find it and how we go about it. And awakening purpose really stood out to me, because you talk so much in this chapter about it, and connect it back to meaning. And one of the things that you say here is purpose shapes our future. But before we get to the future, how do we help people practically, from your perspective, deal with the issue of purpose? Because for so many people, even clients that I have, I'm not sure I know what my purpose is, right? They try to find purpose in their work, but I see that purpose as with a small p. I see purpose with a capital P as something much bigger, as a part of who I am. Help us understand that. That's my theory. Help us understand awakening purpose a little bit more, and how we get there.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. So the small p and the big P, ideally we get an alignment between the small p, the purpose at work that we have, the professional calling, career, and the big P about our life. And I could talk about some examples. But in terms of awakening purpose, again, it goes back to what are the unique gifts that I have given. So one of the exercises I do with my clients is like this repeating question: tell me one of your gifts, talents, and superpowers. So you could try it right now. Say, tell me one. We'll just play this if you're game here.
Yeah, no. One of my gifts is being insightful with people. I feel I have just this gift of insight into where people are at and where they're going. I think I have a gift of being able to ask really good questions, and being able to do that smoothly, with just naturally comes from me. I believe that's
right.
One of my
so
gifts.
tell me some ways you can use that to contribute.
Yeah. So for me, right, as a coach, it's absolutely part of what I do is to look beyond what's being said to help them give a deeper insight to what's really going on behind that closed door that they aren't opening. And it allows me to go in a little bit deeper and beyond that with them. And it's
so you do that in your coaching, but I imagine you can also be doing that.
I could do it at the grocery store.
Exactly. Okay.
When I'm with the checkout person at the grocery store, right? I'm not the normal person that comes through. First of all, I'm happy and I'm positive and I'm kind. But one of the things is, well, they'll say to me, I will say, how's your day going? Right. And they'll say, oh, it's a pretty good day. Oh, pretty good. What does pretty good mean? Right. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing, we're having this little bit deeper conversations, which is irritating to people, though. The line, you talked about people being slow in line. Well, I'm one of those people who's slowing up the line because I'm having a deeper conversation all of a sudden with the person. But I connect with these people, and I have a natural ability to connect with people. I have a stage presence when I speak to groups of people. I know that I can command an audience when I do that. It's not being arrogant. It's just a natural gifting that I've been given to be able to understand those processes. And I use that in a variety of different ways because I know that it shows up in what I do. But to me, my purpose is not in what I do. It's part of naturally who I am every day.
Exactly. So I'm wondering, have you videotaped my checkout manners in the line? That's exactly what I do.
We'd be terrible if we were back to back in the same line, Yosi. Nobody else would check out. They'd be going on to another line. I'm just telling you that right now. If we were back to back.
Yeah, well, they'd be having fun listening in. But anyway, so my point is, this is a great illustration. So you work with people, and people could do this for themselves. And I have these free events on awakening spiritual intelligence, and one of them was about purpose. And so there's a recording on my YouTube channel, and there's this guided exercise that people did during the event, but also it's recorded in such a way that people could do this as a journaling exercise or as a self-inquiry. But it's basically those same questions, which is, tell me one of your gifts, talents, and superpowers, and tell me a way you can use it to contribute. Tell me another way you can use it to contribute. Tell me another way to use it to contribute. And all of a sudden people realize, wow, I have been given all these gifts, and I can use it to contribute in a variety of ways. Not just my job, not just my work. It's my kids, it's my spouse, it's my friends that we go to lunch, and I'm a great listener, whatever it is. So some people it's humor. You have an inquisitive mind, and you know how to ask good questions that bring people insight. And that's a great talent for coaching, but it's not just in your professional coaching career, it sounds like. So that's just kind of the direction. And then you feel like you have a unique contribution to make. And there's a reason there is a J. It's one of a kind. Yeah. And we want to make the best of this one of a kind J.
Agreed. I want to address something that you talk about, and I'm really big on this because I think, in my opinion, that it's very difficult to know purpose if you don't know your core values. And you talk about mission and value statements, mobilize meaning. And I think we're speaking the same language, but I would like to hear you talk about our core values and our mission and how that relates back to meaning and purpose.
Well, we're trying to bring a group of people together and say, this is a vision of the world we're working towards. So there's purpose for me individually, and then there's purpose for this organization that I'm a part of, whether it's curing cancer or, safe space travel. I don't know, whatever it is that our purpose is. But so we're a group of people that are excited to work towards this thing. And now it's like, part of the thing is how we're going to work together. And what is our values that say, because a lot of it is how we relate to each other to come together. So 1 + 1 = 3, and we're not fighting each other. We're harmonizing our energies, aligning it as opposed to dividing. which zaps our energy. So our values partly define our culture, and then they become self-selecting. So when people, part of our job as leaders, as managers, as organizations, the most important thing is the human capital, the people we draw in. And what we want to draw in is people that are synergistic with our values. And so that there's a cohesive team, and we know what our culture is and how we relate to each other. And so that becomes part of the selection and part of the draw that defines who we are. And so we know who we are. We are this group of people that are working towards this common mission, and we do it by working together with these shared principles of governance that we call our values. And then we have a community. When you have a group of people that are just independent, autonomous, then that's just a collection of individuals. But when you have a group of people that have a common mission, a common vision, a common purpose we're working towards, and we have a shared set of values, and we have a mutuality of care, we care about each other as human beings, that's a community. And then when we're part of a community, that's a part of our identity, and there's a reason that we want to engage in this, because we are facing a loneliness epidemic. And people spend more of their waking hours in their work community. And so we might as well feel cared for and care for others in our community and share the values and share the sense of purpose.
The fourth competency in the area of meaning is called reframing reframing difficulties. And one of the things you bring up in this chapter, and I'm just reading what you have here, is reframing the difficulties into opportunities. Through the heat of fire, steel is forged. Help us reframe our difficulties and the importance of having difficulties, because I think it is critically important that we have these difficulties. So help those who are listening or watching reframe those into opportunities, those difficulties.
Well, as you said in the quote, it's through the heat of fire that steel is forged, and what is to give light must endure burning is another quote I love by what's his name, Viktor Frankl. So, but we all suffer setbacks in life, at a personal level. One of my favorite things in Thanksgiving is always to ask people say, well, what are you grateful for? One of my favorite things is like, what was something that was difficult in your life that in hindsight turned out to be a blessing? And then you hear stories like, oh, I got laid off from a job and I was devastated, I was short on funds, etc. But that led me to reinvent my career and reflect, and I found a much better thing. Or I went through a really tough separation and a divorce, and I found my soulmate out of that. Really, in hindsight, that marriage wasn't working and whatever. So, when we have that faith and trust that the worst difficulties in our lives carry hidden blessings, then gives us the resilience and the persistence to go through it. And then we go through it, and then we come out stronger on the other end with a better life. And then we kind of have greater confidence and trust in ourselves, so that next time something happens to us, we may not know what the goodness of it. And this is not Pollyannish, like, oh, everything is good, I'm not going to suffer. No, you lose a loved one, something happens, you're sad, this is painful, there's a disappointment, but there's a deeper level of trust that gives you the confidence and the persistence and the energy and the motivation to keep going through. And then through that journey, you come out the other end. And it's so important when you're building a business or guiding a team, is to believe that as we have setbacks, plans don't always work out right off the bat the first time around. So if our plan got shot down, we might give up, pack up, go home. No. Well, how is this an opportunity? And this happens time and time again. Many of my clients that have become billionaires or what have you, their business plan didn't work out the first time around. And that required them to reinvent what the company was around, and all of a sudden they found a much better business. So it's that faith, that trust that gives us the resilience and the persistence and the tenacity, and increases our trust in ourselves and in life.
His name is Dr. Yosi Amram. The book is entitled Spiritually Intelligent Leadership: How to Inspire by Being Inspired. It's a great book, available everywhere books are sold. I really suggest that you get a copy and work through these dimensions. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, listen, authors, publishers, let me tell you something. Zoundy, new space in the audio book space, absolutely fantastic. Let me tell you what they did. Do you know I can give away my book on any social media platform, Instagram, Facebook? I have a special code. And so I know where people have downloaded my book for free. But here's the best part. I get to interact with the people who've downloaded my book. I get to ask them questions about what they thought of the book. Let them be honest. Give them a space where they've got a safe space where they can be completely honest with me. Maybe they give me suggestions of what they'd like to see me go to next or write next. It's such an awesome way for marketing, customization, great for marketing, sales tools. It's just outstanding. Listen, I have a special offer for all of you that are in the audio book world that you can take advantage of by going to Zoundy. That's Zoundy. Just go to Zoundy.com/J, J-A-Y, right? Enter the code J25, J-A-Y-25. That's Zoundy.com/J, J-A-Y, and then use the promo code J25 to unlock the special savings. I am telling you, it has been so invaluable for me. I absolutely love it. And it's so much fun to interact with your readers. I can't tell you how they can help you grow as an author and help you actually, get the word out about your book. It's really, really cool. Check them out. Zoundy.com/J, code J25, Linda Craft Team Realtors. They've been the first original sponsor of the show. We love them dearly, and we're very grateful for them, as we are for Zoundy too as well. But here's the deal. They have been known as the legends of customer service for 40 years. 40 years, customer service. Their original clients from 1985 still come by the office, right? Because the customer service that Linda provided and now her team provides and has provided and continues to provide for 40 years going on. Listen, if you're going to sell your home, you're going to buy your next home, you're going to buy your first home, start with Linda Craft Team Realtors. Check out the website. None better. Telling you right now, none better. It is absolutely fantastic website, lindacraft.com. Check them out, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Yosi Amram. His book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership: How to Inspire by Being Inspired. Absolutely outstanding here in the last segment of the show. Yosi, I'm going to jump to chapter 6 because I'm a big fan of authenticity. Matter of fact, it's one of my core values. And it's showing up with authentic presence. And talk to us about showing up with authentic presence. There's 4 competencies here: attention, intention, empowerment, and passion. But talk to us about showing up with authentic presence. What does that really mean?
Well, as you talked about it, it's being who you are and comfortable in your own skin. Because if I'm not comfortable in my own skin, I'm not confident, I'm kind of nervous, I'm not really going to be a leader. I'm not going to inspire. If I'm not confident in myself, nobody's going to feel confident in me to follow me. So I have to be comfortable in my own skin. I want to be passionate so that, I'm enlivened by what I'm doing. So I'm enthusiastic. And enthusiasm is actually the root of it has to do with inspiration. If you go back to the Latin thing, it's like breathing in the spirit, and that brings me alive. And then I'm passionate, I'm enthusiastic. So I'm enlivened, I'm inspired, then other people around me are enlivened, and I'm comfortable in my skin. And then the other 2 things, like you mentioned, is intention and attention. So in every interaction, if I'm a salesperson, or whatever it is, I need to be clear. Oh, I'm meeting with so-and-so. What is my intention for today? My intention is to build rapport, or my intention is to understand the requirement, this prospect's requirement, so I can come back and present to them a proposal that addresses their requirement. That's part of, so, it's always, I have to be clear on my intention, and the intention is my North Star for the meeting. I mean, we live in an ADHD culture. There's so many things coming at us, text messages, emails, tweets, what have you, Slack messages. So we can get distracted. And so if I'm in a meeting, I want to be clear on my intention. And I don't want to go on tangents, so that if my intention is to build rapport with you, I might tell you a little story that's human and you relate to it, but I don't want to get sidetracked. And all of a sudden I'm talking for 10, 15 minutes about my story, about my vacation to Hawaii and the rain and what happened and which this happened and that happened. And you're like, oh my God, you're starting to tune me out. So then I'm off my intention. I'm off my thing. And so I need to be clear with my attention. Also, I'm with you. We're talking. So right now, I'm paying attention to you. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not thinking about lunch tomorrow. I'm not thinking about what happened yesterday with my girlfriend. I'm processing that, And so you feel my presence. And when someone is present with you, you feel it. And that draws you out, because if they're not listening and you feel their mind is drifting, their mind is elsewhere, you're not going to open up to them. Hey, I'm not going to share my heart with you. I'm not really going to reveal myself to you if you're not there to receive it. Why should I put myself out there? So all of those things are important, being clear on my intention. So that's my North Star for the meeting. I come back to it. I'm directing my attention to what the issue at hand, the person ahead, and that's one of the ways that we actually show respect and care and love. People say, well, what love? Love is like giving people your scarcest thing is your time and attention. When I pay attention to you and I'm attuned to you and I'm watching your body language and your facial expression as I'm communicating, then I could stay attuned to you. And, it's so important. I also do couples counseling. That's one of the core skills on spiritually intelligent relationships, is to be attuned to your partner. Watch them. And so you're paying attention. You're clear on your intention. I'm here to connect with you. I want to know how I'm saying is landing in you. So right now you're tracking me. I feel your presence. So I feel like, okay, I'm on track. But if all of a sudden you started to fiddle and look at your phone, I'd be like, oh, what's going on? I better stop talking. Jay is not really interested in what I'm talking. But right now you're smiling, you're present with me. So we're both present. We're both showing up. We're connecting. And but I'm comfortable. I'm speaking about something I care about. I'm enlivened by it. I'm passionate about it. So hopefully, this gives you a flavor of what I'm talking about, of authentic presence that feels empowered, that feels passionate, that is right there in the moment, attending to the person and the issue at hand.
You make a statement in the attention competency here, and I want you to dig in there just a little bit with me. Gratitude, of course, is one of my other core values. But you say gratitude helps you use your time and attention even more wisely to maximize the gift of your presence, to live each moment as fully as you can, to lead you to the deepest desires in your heart. How is gratitude help us use our time and attention to being authentically present?
Well, think about it like, gratitude opens our heart, calms our nervous system. And when we're in that state of being, our mind is most creative. We're most connected. We have the most oxytocin flowing through our heart, which is, you can call the love hormone. But research shows that when a culture and organization where there's more trust and more oxytocin, there's more productivity, lower absenteeism, and all kinds of benefits. So, if I think like, okay, today, my conversation with Jay right now, I'm grateful for your presence. You're promoting my book. I'm experiencing this resonance with you in terms of our values, in terms of what we care about. So I'm grateful for this opportunity. So right now I feel that brings me present. My heart is open. I feel warmth. I feel this resonance with you. You're smiling. I'm smiling. So there's more joy. So that deepens our connection in this moment. And I'm feeling more natural in the flow of my life. And I'm enjoying this moment. I'm not so much stressed. So there's more creativity, more possibility for connection. And it's because I'm recognizing that this moment is something to be grateful for. It's something that's aligned with the values I have, which is to connect with other human beings that are resonant with how I look at the world. So, I get more satisfaction, more joy. I mean, this is a deeper example, but it could be like, I'm driving and, I'm stuck in traffic and I'm upset, etc. But if I was trying to say, well, I'm stuck in traffic, where's the hidden blessing in this? Well, I've been rushing all day. Maybe I could just, right now, I can't go anywhere anyway. So I'm going to look at the trees on the side. I'm going to look at the clouds, and it's going to calm my nervous system. And I'm going to feel better. I'm eating my lunch and my burrito. Let me be present and enjoy my burrito. I'm drinking my morning coffee. I mean, why drink my coffee if I'm not really savoring it? Whether it's my coffee or my chocolate or my glass of wine or beer or whatever. You have to be present to win, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a sign in a Las Vegas casino I saw many years ago. You got to be present to win. We got to be present to win in life. If we're not there, what's that? This is our life. Moment to moment is our life.
Yeah. If you were to put a sum and you were to say, okay, to everybody out there, this is where I think you should start to really develop spiritual, intelligent leadership, where would be that starting point for you? Well,
I think I'd say a couple of things. First, it's intention. So everything starts with an intention. You got to say, okay, this is I want to develop my spiritual intelligence, and this is my intention. So that's the first step. Then you got to pick a quality that you want to focus on. So there's these 25 competencies you talked about. Like even in IQ, we think IQ, cognitive intelligence, is one number. You have an IQ of 120, maybe you have an IQ of 170. I don't know what it is, but it consists, I'm just joking. It consists of many things, right? There's verbal composition, there's verbal comprehension, there's mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning, spatial reasoning, processing speed, and so on. So spiritually intelligent leadership, it has these 25 competencies, these 7 domains around meaning, around grace, around presence, etc. You didn't recite them all because there's too much. We can't cover it all here. But the point is, you want to pick one of these qualities and work on it for a month, build some habit. I think we mentioned 2 important ones that I would recommend people consider as their starting point, either gratitude or purpose. I think those are foundational. And if you start with the gratitude practice every day, either when you wake up or when you go to bed, you have a gratitude journal, and then over time, you make that a habit, and to feel the gratitude and express the appreciation as a leader. And so then people crave that reinforcement, and then they keep rising up to the occasion and that reinforces their great behavior. So you start out with a gratitude practice. At the end of the day, you think about your day, all the things you're grateful for. Then you move to the next stage, which is as you go through the day. When we talked about it, I don't have to wait till the end of the day to think tonight, oh, I really enjoyed my time with Jay today, and that's part of my gratitude. No, I'm feeling it right now, and then I can express it to you, and that's more juicy, more alive, more immediate. So we then start to practice feeling the gratitude in the moment and expressing it as soon as we can to the person on our team. And if we didn't do it in the moment, as soon as we can, we send them an email, or we talk to them, or we call them, or we text them. Say, I really appreciate how you showed up in that meeting, or you stayed late last night, you delivered a quality report, I felt supported in my project. So gratitude would be one. You do that for few weeks, 3 weeks, they say it takes to build a habit. Then you work on purpose, and that would be another foundational, because when you have a sense of purpose, that that enlivens you, then your spark is ignited and a lot of your energy and life force flows, and you feel more empowered, more passionate about life. So but you could pick any of them. Being present would be a great one. Practicing presence, and but I think gratitude and purpose would be good places to start. But before that, there's got to be the intention. So you say, I'm going to do a gratitude practice. And then one day you're like, oh, I was tired. I went to bed. I forgot to do my thing. Right? Okay, that's fine. So intention is not like all or nothing. Oh, I forgot to do it yesterday, but there is my intention. So I'm going to do it tonight. And then I'll do it tonight. Maybe I'll forget tomorrow, and then I'll remember the next day. But I come back to my intention again and again. It's like a rudder. If I say, no, my goal is to unite for the next day, I forget one day of the month, and I'm like, oh, I failed my goal. No, it's not about a goal. It's an intention, which is your rudder. It keeps getting you back on track.
That's beautiful. His name's Yosi Amram. The book, Spiritual Intelligent Leadership, How to Inspire by Being Inspired. Yosi, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me today. Can people get a hold of you and get more information? What's the best way they can do that?
Well, I have a website called yosiamram.net, just my name, YOSIAMRAM.net. And if that's too complicated to remember, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is at Awakening Spiritual Intelligence. Or just awakeningspiritualintelligence.org. It's a nonprofit. You can spell it out, the whole word, no spaces, no anything. Or if you want a shorter thing, it's Awakening SI, which stands for SI, is the short abbreviation of spiritual intelligence. So awakeningsi.org. So I probably confused you by giving you too many options, but
we'll put it on the notes that's associated with the blog post to the show, and we'll give people a couple options there, and we'll let them reach out to you if they want more information, they want to get a hold of you, if they want to hire you, certainly to do that. We'll make sure that that's a live link for them to go to reach back out to you. Thank you so much. Stay with me as I close the show, please. Hey, folks, this is the show. You know what I say to you every week? You had a lot of choices. You chose us. I am so grateful that you did. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and wherever you are listening to the show, give us a positive 5-star review. We greatly appreciate it. And one other thing, tell your friends. All right. We appreciate that too. You know what? You're in control of 3 things in your life: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. The fact of the matter is, life is not always fair. Life does not always give us what we want, but you are in control of 3 things. Your attitude is first. You can choose your attitude. It doesn't matter what's happening to you at any point in life. Choose a positive attitude. Your effort is tied to your excellence. Will you choose to be excellent today? No matter what you have, you can be as excellent as you possibly can. And your resilience, well, you know what? We all get punched in the gut or punched in the teeth now and then, and we get knocked down, but it's up to you to get back up. And we need you to get back up. You want to know why? Because we need you on the team, and you're worth it. I'm going to be back next week with another great guest. It's going to be another great book, which means it's automatically another great show. As I say out to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.